Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Non Sequitur Nerds. Tonight, we are vengeance. We are night. We are the nerds, and we're going to be talking Batman. As always, I'm Tim, joined by my buddy Ian. He's over there. How's it going, buddy? I still haven't gotten used to the fact that I moved our layouts.
Well, my layout is the same, so I can continue looking in this direction.
Yeah,
So,
I'll look over there
uh,
at you.
we both look in the same direction, at least on my screen. Anyway,
Yeah, that's
so
true.
things are going relatively well. The wintertime is slowly starting to grind to a halt. Although we did have snow here today.
Same here.
Um,
Well, and like last weekend, well, I was actually down in your neck of the woods last weekend for a funeral, unfortunately. But
right.
like it was just under 80 degrees last weekend down there.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Um,
yeah.
and even up my way, I asked, it was still like high 60s, low 70s. And now, like up here, we got a couple inches of snow today. So it's like, it's that weird time of year for the Midwest where it's like throw a dart at the board, and that's what your weather's going to be for the day.
Yeah, pretty much. But I think some of this crazy weather has just been like messing with me. I somehow managed to catch a cold. I haven't been sick in the
Yeah,
last 2 years, so
you
you
haven't
know,
gone outside.
right. It pretty much wiped me out on earlier this week. Like I
Uh,
had to take like a half day off work because I just like slept, and then I went
what's
to bed
what's
at
that
like
like? Being able to go to
sleeping.
work and
Well, I
say,
mean, it's
well, sleeping too, but being able to go to work and go, yeah, I'm feeling a little under the weather. I'm just going to leave. And well, I mean, you have the luxury of working from home, so I mean, you don't even have to put on pants if you don't want to. I tried that once at work, and they made me put on pants, but it's unfair. It's unfair, really. But
you got to get the job at the Chippendales. At least that way, you won't not wearing pants is part of the
you know,
part of
got to earn that money somehow with the price of everything right now.
right.
That'd be my
Exactly.
weekend job right there.
Yeah, so no, things are going relatively well. We're on the weekend.
Finally.
Classes have started, and just trying to kind of picking up, picking up and continuing on with life.
Yeah, yeah, I hear that.
So
I hear that.
yeah, but so we're talking the terror that flaps in the night.
I, I
Um,
think that's somebody different.
well,
But yeah, so I mean, Batman. It's a character that like even people that aren't like comic book or comic book movie fans, like you can show them a picture and like, hey, yeah, that's Batman. He's very iconic, very recognizable. Um, Not to date ourselves, but recently had a new movie come out to theaters, which I haven't gotten a chance to see yet. I've been just way too busy, and I don't believe you have either. But like a lot of the reviews I'm reading are saying that it's a really, really good film. Some are even calling it the best Batman film, which kind of goes back to something that I know you and I have said several times, talking about this and the Heath Ledger casting of Joker. When it was first announced, Robert Pattinson would be playing Batman, or going back to the Heath Ledger analogy, a lot of people kind of, poo-pooed on it. And we're like, oh, it's going to be horrible. Why would they cast that actor as it? But people are saying Pattinson did a really good job and nailed both the Bruce and the Batman side, which you and I have talked about repeatedly. It's
right.
it's it's easy to get a good Bruce. It's easy to get a good Bat, but yet it's that magic of being able to nail both of them. And from what I'm reading, he did a phenomenal job of it. So
Well, I saw a meme online earlier this week, and something akin to uh, Robert Pattinson. Spent 14 years being known as the kid from Twilight so that he could play the perfect brooding Bruce Wayne.
I saw that, and I'm like, it's,
It's not far
it
from the
worked.
truth.
He's a very very dedicated actor.
Yes, yes, really played the long game there. It was
In
a
14.
method acting to the extreme. But no, I mean, I think we've kind of mentioned this before in some of our previous shows and in last season. Robert Pattinson is actually a really good actor. People just don't. They always associate him to that character into Twilight
The Twilight
because
kid, yeah.
that was like the big thing that that he was in. But
Right.
he's
Well, I
been
mean,
in a lot of different
well, I
he's
mean,
been in a lot
even
of different movies since then,
well,
and he's
yeah.
really good in them.
Well, and even back then, I mean, he had a part in Harry Potter, which kind of got overshadowed when Twilight came out, and he played Edward. Edward, yeah. Um, and so I mean, it kind of overshadowed that. But I mean, he's been in lots of other stuff, and I mean, has been consistently pretty spot on. I mean, obviously, if you've got a bad script, bad director, bad writing, whatever have you, you got to work with what you're given. But that aside, I mean, he's actually done some pretty good work, honestly. So
Yeah, I mean, if you
I'm
look at
excited to see
his
Batman.
if you look at his Rotten Tomatoes credit or his credits on Rotten Tomatoes, and you just kind of look at the ratings on the movies that he's been in, pretty much after Twilight, they've been consistently well rated.
That's good.
Critically, either critically or user well rated. I mean, you look at things like The Lost City of Z, Good Time, The King, The Lighthouse,
That was the one with
Tenet.
him and Willem Dafoe, right? Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse,
Yeah.
I think so. The Devil All the Time wasn't the greatest movie. That was what isn't the greatest rating, but it's still rated fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
There you
So
go.
he's consistently been in decent movies that
Right.
have been well received.
Yeah.
So a couple of stinkers here and there, but I think that
I
par for the course
mean,
for pretty much any actor or actress.
exactly. Unless you're Nicolas Cage, in which case it's the flip side of that. But his movies are still damn enjoyable.
Right, and I'm looking forward to his next one that's coming out soon.
You sent me the trailer for it. And I'll be honest, I haven't watched it yet. But like, just the title of it, uh, what was it, the life and times of a washout or something like that?
No, it's like it's something. Oh, now I have to look it up.
But like whatever the title was, that I'm like, okay, I'm interested. I don't even need to see the trailer right now.
Yeah. Oh, what is it?
Hang on, you know what?
The unbelievable weight of massive talent,
There we go. There we go.
where he plays himself.
I was gonna say I was getting out my phone. I'm like, you texted it to me. I'll just have to look on there. But
Yeah,
but yeah. So I mean, Batman. I mean, there have been a lot of Batman films over the years. A lot of different actors playing Batman. Multiple comic book versions of him. Multiple reboots of said comic book version. TV shows, animated shows. I mean, it's Batman's kind of ran the gamut. I mean, I'm surprised, and anybody that's listening, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's ever been a Batman Christmas album, but I'm pretty sure that's about the only thing that they haven't done yet.
jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid
That
an
would have to be
egg,
on there. That would have
Batmobile
to be on there.
lost a wheel,
And
and
the Joker
Joker
got
got away.
away. All right,
Which
our Christmas album coming
canonically, right,
2023.
which canonically has actually been sung by the Joker. That
Yes,
was
yep.
that
By
was
Mark Hamill's Joker,
Mark
right?
Hamill.
Yep.
Yes. And that was actually, if I remember correctly, I believe that was his first episode that he voiced as the Joker.
Really, that is
Yes.
amazing. Actually, that is
Um,
amazing.
I believe so. I'd have to go back and fact check myself on that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if we
That's
if we talk about Batman, kind of our forays into Batman. I mean, we were pretty young when Batman the animated series came out, five,
right.
6, 7 years old. So for a lot of people, a lot of us, that might have been like our first foray into Batman,
Right.
and it was a hell of a foray into
Ooh.
Batman. Like that was really, if we think about it, kind of the major start of the DC animated universe.
Right.
I mean, it was really the first DC animated universe because it
Sure.
was Batman, and then they had Superman in the very much the same style. Then they had Batman and Superman Adventures and Justice League and
Justice League
you know
Unlimited,
just
Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, and
Yep.
it
Just
spawned
built
this
from there.
huge, it
New
continues
Adventures of
going.
Batman and Robin. I knew we were forgetting one.
Yeah, yep. New
Which
Adventures of Batman and
I
Robin.
I didn't care a whole lot for the animation style change because I was more used to Batman animated series animation style. But I mean, I get it. They were trying to bring it more in line with like the Superman animation style, um, and kind of update it. Because the show had been running for a decent while at that point, and they were kind of wanting a more fresh, more modern animation style. So I mean, I kind of get it. I still prefer the animation style of animated series though.
Yeah, and that
Just
one
just
stuck around for a long
iconic.
time. I mean,
Yeah, it did.
the big beefy characters, and everybody was shaped like a triangle.
Right.
The women were animated so that they were shaped very much like an hourglass. I mean, they had the waistline of someone who wore a corset since they were two.
Right. Well,
Um,
I mean, we can't forget that the animated series was the actual debut of Harley Quinn, who was originally designed to be just a one-off throwaway character for a single episode, and fans loved her so much that they're like, okay, let's bring her back. See if we can strike magic with this. And now she's one of their marquee characters for DC. Um,
right, and
all because
very
she was supposed to be part of a throwaway gag.
right, and the incomparable Arlene Sorkin lending her voice to that character. But if we circle back and talk about Batman, we obviously can't forget Kevin Conroy as Batman. Kevin Conroy playing one of the most iconic versions of Batman and continued to play that character in many subsequent series.
I mean,
Came
still
back
does
and
for some of
voiced
them.
right, came back and voiced the character for the Arkham video games by Rocksteady, I
Yes,
think.
I believe so.
Yes, Rocksteady's Arkham series of games, which were very critically acclaimed. That saw him partnering back up with Mark Hamill for the Joker.
Yep.
Um, and obviously Mark Hamill being the iconic Joker for me anyway. I can't think
For
of
a lot
anybody
of
else.
people.
I mean, I can't think of anybody else as the Joker. And
Yeah.
obviously, it's funny when you go and watch interviews of Mark Hamill. He talks about driving through L.A. practicing different Joker laughs while he's driving on the
Just
freeway.
imagine somebody passes him and he's just sitting there
he
cackling like a madman.
he even says something like that. He's like, I must have looked like a psychopath or something like that. I'm just sitting there, just grinning and cackling as he's
Right.
as he's driving on the freeway.
Oh
Um,
god.
but yeah, I mean, Batman has seen a lot of different characters, and he continues to be kind of a flagship member of DC. He's kind of almost their poster child above
Right.
Superman,
I
really.
mean, yeah, I mean he's up there if not surpassing Superman. I mean, because again, Superman, a lot of those, especially on the DC side, characters that have had a little bit more longevity to them. They're all obviously super iconic. I mean, especially if you pick the Trinity there, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. Anybody can point those out. Um, I mean, some of their more obscure characters for DC because they have a lot of obscure characters.
Booster Gold.
If, I mean, even Booster Gold, like amongst DC fans, people know who Booster Gold is, but outside of DC fans, it's like, okay, who is this guy? But I mean, like, I know we're kind of getting off track a little bit, but like even side characters like Captain Boomerang because of the Suicide Squad film, you know, either one of them. I mean, more the first one, sadly, but people know like that character now. But Batman, even somebody that has never seen a film, they can easily recognize Batman in just about any of his various costumes. Not all of them, because I mean there are some like the what was it, the Azrael Batman, where he wore
Mm.
that like the suit that like, all right, let's take everything of the 90s and put it into a Batman suit. Giant spiked shoulder pads, everything's all like skin tight but also made of metal and super shiny. You remember the one I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I'm sure I can put it up here if you're not familiar with it. But note to editor, which is me, put it up there. Um,
yeah, that one was. I mean, in reality, that like he almost looks like Moon Knight, which is funny because Moon Knight is basically the
Marvel Batman.
the Marvel analog of Batman, except he's insane.
So Marvel Batman. You're
Yeah.
telling me a grown man that dresses in bondage gear and runs around at night looking like a bat with a small boy isn't a little bit insane? I mean, just
I
calling it
mean,
how
let's
I see
admit.
it.
I mean, let's admit, Bruce Wayne adopts children like puppies, so uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But I mean that kind of brings up like another thing. Batman has almost for the longest time has had a Robin of some sort or a sidekick of some sort. Even during the period of time where I think it was Marvel, if I remember right, a lot of their characters got rid of their sidekicks because they're like, oh well, we don't want to be putting kids in these situations where they're fighting guys with guns. That's not really a good image. To my knowledge, and I mean I might be wrong. A lot of the Golden Age stuff, I'm not incredibly incredibly up to date on. But I don't think Batman ever got rid of his Robin. If he did, it was for a very short time, or while one of them was dead, because they seem to have a track record of that. Either dead or become their own hero. So I mean, maybe they did skirt around that when Robin first became Nightwing. But I mean, beyond that, like there's always been a Robin to the Batman, typically,
Right.
and there have been a lot of
Yeah.
Robins.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of them. Obviously, the first and the most iconic Robin being Dick Grayson, who later became Nightwing. A member,
Who
one of the
later
founding,
became Batman.
right, one of the founding members of the Teen Titans, and in its many incarnations. Then you had the tragic Robin of Jason Todd,
Yep.
who people hated so much they voted to kill him.
Yeah, they did. And then they're like, "Wait, you
Um,
actually did it? No, no, bring him back." So they brought him back as Red Hood, who I
right,
believe also became Batman for a short while. I'm starting to see a theme here. Um, but
right,
I mean, it just then he had Tim Drake,
yep,
who he later became Red Robin. So I mean, it's Batman's boarding school for superheroes. I mean, it's like you start off at entry level as sidekick, then you become your own hero, and then you eventually become Batman for a short while. But
right.
but I mean, you even
And
had I mean,
then
there's even
let's
ones
let's
beyond
also
that.
not right. Let's not forget Damian Wayne.
Whiny,
Um,
whiny little piss baby.
yeah,
But damn it, I love that character though. I like say what you will about how whiny Damien is. I like that dynamic of like the Robins have always been kind of surrogate sons to Batman. And I believe was it I'm trying to remember if it was just Dick that he actually adopted. I want to say I mean again I'm not familiar, I'm not uh super knowledgeable about the actual legal adoptions of any of these kids. But it's nice to see an interesting dynamic where it's actually a blood relative of Batman, and I mean that causes some strife amongst the other Robins of, well, you always said I'm like a son to you, but you never treated me like that. You never went out of your way to do that for me. And it's that whole, I'm your surrogate son or your adopted son or whatever have you. He's the son you didn't want, but yet you're doing things with him that you would have never done for us. So it's an interesting like kind of change that dynamic, the Bat family dynamic. And even beyond Robins, I mean, there's Barbara Gordon, Batgirl.
yep,
I mean, you
yep,
even had that too. I mean, you've got Cassandra Cain, Batwoman. You've got I mean, there's even a whole comic series called Batman Incorporated, which is Batmen all over the world who are mainly working with Bruce and the other Gotham Bat family, but elsewhere in the world. I mean, there's one in oh, I can't even remember where they're all from now. It's been forever since I've read Incorporated. I don't even know if it's still in print anymore. I don't think so. But there's more than just Batman and Robin. But they're the most well known of the Bat family,
right.
in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I mean there's quite a lot of them, and apparently there is a bat cow.
Yeah,
Um,
there's also a bat dog or bat hound, as it's called sometimes. Well, and actually, there's a upcoming DC film about all these super pets. It's like there's Bat Dog, there's Crypto the super dog, which
I
is
mean Ace,
yes, Ace the Bat Dog. There's
Ace.
Crypto the super hound, which I mean is probably more well known. Um, but I mean that's and I believe the Rock is playing Crypto if I remember right. He's either
I
playing
believe
Crypto
so.
or Ace. One of the I believe he's playing Crypto,
I believe he's crypto.
which is weird because the
Um,
Rock is going to be Black Adam, another DC character. So the Rock is canonically. I mean, again, it's all part of their multiverse thing. Both Marvel and DC are doing a multiverse. Marvel just seems to be doing it better. Um,
Apparently, Dynamite was a member of Batman Inc.
yes, because that is a Hanna Barbera cartoon, which technically the parent company of that is Warner Brothers, which owns
Yes.
DC. So technically,
Yep.
Dynamite and Blue Falcon are technically members of the DC pantheon, and I think, if I remember right, I think that it may not be canonical anymore, but Blue Falcon was an honorary member of the Justice League. Like I'm all
Yeah.
for I'm all for that. I love Blue Falcon and Dynamite.
Yeah. 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 Anyway.
But so
Um,
yeah, I mean yeah, the Batman family, Batman Inc. stretches pretty far. I mean even Commissioner Gordon for a while was even Batman in his like giant bat like police car mech suit thing, which I know a lot of fans are kind of like eh, on. Lucius Fox and his son are members of Batman Inc. I mean it's pretty far reaching. Like I mean I know Superman has Supergirl, he has Power Girl. I mean there's a few other Kryptonians, but it seems like the Bat family just
yeah.
continues to grow. I mean, and for good reason. I mean, it's a character that
Superman. I
people
mean,
like.
Supergirl and Power Girl. That one's a little kind of iffy there because technically this
It's
it's
the well, it depends on what
she's this.
continuity. Because I mean, in some
Yeah.
she's a clone. Power Girl is a clone of Supergirl. In others, it's Supergirl from
She's
the
like another.
future. In some, it's her from an
She's like
alternate
another
reality.
dimension.
So I
Yeah.
mean, it's I don't know where Power Girl stands, but but okay. Fun fact: they actually canonized why she has the boob window. It's because she couldn't decide on a logo that looked cool enough, so she just left that empty space on her costume until she figured out what logo she wanted. I kid you not, that is canonically why she has the boob window. The fact that they had to
They had to.
canonize a boob window.
I mean, that was just an excuse to try to get people to stop screaming about it.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, it's like it's let's be honest. And while there are female fans of comic books and superheroes, when those characters were designed, they were primarily appealing to a male fantasy demographic. All of
Right.
your male characters were like an ideal male figure. All of your female figures were drawn to what a typical male at the time, a typical heterosexual male at the time, would be interested in a woman. Overtly sexy, large breasts, the whole 9 yards. But I mean, obviously, I mean, nerds in general are not just white cis males. It runs an entire gamut of genders, sexual identities, and everything. And we're kind of at an interesting point in comics where they're trying to finally adapt to an expanded demographic, but then white cis males are going, no, what, why, oh, woke culture, bleh. Why are you doing this as Superman? Why, like I know one of the biggest ones is Superman's son in recent comics has been revealed to be it's either gay or bisexual. I don't remember which. But that caused a lot of like, oh, well, why would you do that? Because those, I mean, from what I heard, the writing wasn't the best. So I mean, that aside, though, like, well, maybe they did it because people like that exist.
Right. I mean,
Maybe.
we're not trying to soapbox, but I mean,
I mean,
obviously,
yeah, it's
denying those people exist is not the way to do it.
exactly.
And you're alienating an entire set of audience members and potential people by doing that. I mean, let's look at the. I mean, if we want to segue real quick into the Marvel universe, there have been many Marvel characters who have
Yeah.
come out as gay and
Well, I mean,
heterosexual or gay
Iceman.
or bisexual.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Iceman. Even if we look at going back to Batman, Batwoman, Kane.
Cassandra
She's
Cain.
Cassandra Kane. She's canonically a lesbian. Um, and then we look
Yep.
at again jumping back over to some of the DC characters. I think there were Sentry. I believe wasn't Sentry canonically gay?
Um, that
There
sounds
was
that sounds correct, but I'm not sure.
he was either gay or bisexual, but I
Yeah.
mean, but I mean, there've been several characters that have been openly uh, non-heterosexual
Yeah, well, I mean,
in
like if we're
those.
if we're talking about Marvel, I believe that Mystique. I mean, it kind of comes along with her powers, that she can literally be anyone she wants.
Right, she's more like pansexual.
Yeah. Well, originally, like in the comics, she is Rogue's kind of adoptive mother. She's the woman that raised her. Rogue's original origin is that Mystique was going to be her biological father, and I didn't
Oh,
misspeak there. That Mystique was at the time in the form of a man, and all that entails, and was going to, impregnate whoever she was with at the time, would have ended up being Rogue's mother. But somebody said, "Oh well, no, that's let's not touch that subject. Let's just she's her adoptive mother." But originally, that was going to be Rogue's origin, is that Mystique was her father, which for Mystique being the most gender fluid character I can think of in Marvel, quite literally, was going to be her father. So,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
anyway,
I just did a quick Google search, and this was something that I didn't realize. But Tim Drake is actually canonically queer.
really, okay.
Yes. Um, so apparently it was kind of a headcanon for fans, but they did actually announce. Oh, let's see. So this would have been last year in August that he came out as canonically queer. Kitty Pryde, Mystique,
Kid,
Jackson
see,
Hyde.
I didn't know about Kitty Pryde. I mean, because like
Uh,
to me, when I think Kitty Pryde, I think, oh, she dated Colossus for the longest time, and I think got
right.
married at one point. But huh,
Yeah, no, she's bisexual.
okay,
Um, Jackson Hyde, who's apparently in one of the Aqualads.
not a character I'm
Uh,
familiar with. Well, I mean,
yeah, I mean
in
he's
young,
an Aqualad.
it,
Alan Scott.
you see, yep, Green Lantern, the first Green Lantern. Well, I mean, in the Young Justice series, Aqualad, who later takes up the mantle of Aquaman, he's canonically gay in that show
Right.
with
Um,
oh
yeah.
god, I can't remember his name, but one of the other Atlanteans.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are a couple.
Uh,
So
Hulkling and Wiccan.
yep, I knew that one.
Uh, Coagula, who's a character I've never heard of before. Apparently, she's a
Coagula.
member. She's like an anti-hero.
Oh,
Oh, apparently she's also trans.
oh, okay.
Interesting. Iceman, Harley Quinn, and Poison Ivy. Can't really forget about
I mean,
them.
yeah, that's kind of. I think that's kind of like DC's iconic couple right there,
Right.
and a much healthier relationship than what Harley and Joker had. That was. It always bugs me when people go,
Yeah.
"Oh, Harley and Joker, their relationship goals." So you want to be with somebody that doesn't give a shit about you and will literally throw you under a bus, literally?
And out a window.
Yeah,
And
and on
yeah.
top of a grenade to keep yourself from getting blown up. No, like
Let's see. We've got Constantine, who is confirmed bisexual. Um,
Constantine is if there's a whole sexual. I mean, he goes beyond pansexual. Let's
it's
call it
true.
how it is. Um,
Um,
and Matt
let's
Ryan, the actor that
see.
plays him in the live action, does his voice. Like I am such a fan.
Yeah. So I mean, there are several. There are many
Oh yeah,
characters out there who have a level of LGBTQ plus support
yeah, absolutely.
within the comic community, and the list is much longer than what we've provided. I mean, it's quite lengthy actually.
Yeah, it's a
So
pretty extensive list.
yes. Um,
But I mean,
so
but Batman though. I mean, Batman again, like we said multiple times, is it's just an obscenely iconic character. And I mean, we haven't even gotten into the history. I mean, everybody knows the origin story of Batman. But I mean, we haven't even gotten into the history of like the comics or anything like that. Um, but I mean, it's been a long and sordid history. I mean, ups and downs. There have been several, like I said, live action movies, animated movies, live action shows, animated shows,
live
uh,
action animated
live
shows,
action animated shows. I mean, it's
animated live action shows.
right. But I mean, I know you'd mentioned the iconic Kevin Conroy earlier, who has done the majority of the Batman voice. He also got to play a live action more Bruce Wayne than Batman in the CW Flash series, which I
Mhm.
know a lot of people were super excited about that. And then I hate to say it, I'm one of them that when I saw it, I was pretty disappointed because I mean, while Conroy has the voice of Batman, he doesn't have the physical presence of Batman, in my opinion. And I think they kind of I want to chalk it up to bad writing because I didn't like the way in which he was live action Batman. It just didn't seem to fit. I mean, he was like a quasi Kingdom Come Batman, but with a different spin on it. And it didn't fit Conroy. I mean, he doesn't have the physical presence, in my opinion, to do live action Batman. But I mean, that being said,
He's
go
a
ahead.
tall but very slim man.
Yes, I mean that being said, though, Mark Hamill, especially now, I don't know if he has the physical presence to pull off a live action Joker, but he can definitely pull off a voice Joker. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, and Batman's again, he's kind of that flagship hero for DC, and kind of the one that they lean on the most, because he's just so iconic. You know,
Yeah, he is.
their big three, obviously, like you said earlier, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
Yep.
They're the original trifecta there. And they'll probably continue to lean on those IPs and those properties for a while to come.
They'll milk him
Um,
for as long as they can.
oh, sure. Maybe we'll get a halfway decent Green Lantern.
Maybe. I mean, live action anyway. I mean, there have been some phenomenal Green Lantern comics, but like the only like there was a Green Lantern show that was CG animated, and like I I honestly really enjoyed it. I'm disappointed that it ended as quickly as it did. But I mean, it came
Is
out.
that the one where he gets kind of like lost in space?
Yeah,
And he's out
we're
there with Kilowog, and they've got
the
the lantern
sentient.
powered robot.
Yeah, the sentient Green Lantern ship that ends up getting a body. I mean, it had really good writing. The voice acting I thought was really good in it. Um, the story was enjoyable. I mean, it was a different take on some of the other things because it came out shortly after the movie did, and it was trying to kind of ride on the Darkest Night
Details.
storyline, like with all the
Yeah.
different Lantern Corps and everything. So I mean, it was a different take, but I enjoyed it. I wish there would have been more of it, but yeah, I don't think they're going to touch a live action Green Lantern for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think they really need to find their footing as
Yeah,
within their core
yeah,
group
for sure, for
before they
sure.
can really do that. I mean, they kind of build they kind of build them up, and then they build them up really well, and then they stumble.
Yeah,
They build them up really well, and then they stumble.
yep,
Wonder
sadly.
Woman was a fantastic movie. Wonder Woman 1984 was a terrible movie,
Yeah, we just
as we have said many times. It was
and
just awful.
we both wanted to enjoy that, but just
Yeah,
yeah,
it was just
that
difficult. But
it was sadly.
and then of course they keep rebooting Batman, and let's admit, you know, Batfleck.
Yeah, same,
I
absolutely.
legitimately enjoyed Ben Affleck as Batman. He has a certain gravitas as an older Bruce Wayne,
Yep,
and he has the chops to pull off a good Batman. I thought he did a
yep.
good job, but he was I don't even want to say he was handicapped. He was Tanya Hardinged by bad writing. Like they just came in and swinging right
Yeah,
for his kneecaps.
did.
I mean,
Did.
there was just no way to rescue his version of Batman because of just the terrible writing. It
Sadly,
was just
sadly.
there was just no rescuing it. Plus, let's admit, Batman kills a lot of people.
He does. Yeah,
Like
he
that version of
does.
Batman kills a lot of people.
Yeah,
Oh no, he didn't actually
they're
kill him.
just sleeping.
He threw him down an elevator shaft with a grenade.
Yeah,
He's dead.
it was a sleeping
But
grenade.
he didn't kill him, the grenade did.
The fall killed him, and then the grenade helped. Yeah, no, I get you. I get you.
But
I like that take on Batman though.
yeah, and I think that again there's gonna be more Batmans, and hopefully Robert Pattinson gets more than one movie worth of Batman.
For
Um,
word on the rumor mill is that they're already planning a sequel because of how well received it's been so far.
I believe I also heard that they were going to be doing a Penguin TV
Yes,
show.
on HBO Max they are doing a
Yeah,
Penguin spin-off show, so which would
yeah.
going to be interesting because I guess people really like the portrayal of Penguin, which it's the first live
So,
action one since DeVito. So
right. Supposedly, from what I've heard, is Paul Dano as the Riddler was absolutely
yes,
fantastic.
I have heard that as well. Like, I mean, Riddler's always been an interesting character, but I guess he took him to a whole nother level. So I'm excited to see the film. I haven't got a chance to yet; I've been super busy, but I'm excited to see it.
Well, I mean, if we look at if we look at what what we have as far as Riddlers go in the universe, we have Paul Dano, and we
Yep.
have Jim Carrey. And Jim Carrey was effectively like Carrot Top on
I
cocaine.
mean, pretty much.
Um, as far as that portrayal goes. And again, I don't think it was necessarily anything to do with him not being able to do the character. I think it was just he was handicapped by terrible
It
writing
was
again.
the script and directing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Batman. I am Batman.
Exactly. That's all we really need to say about it.
Right. Fantastic character. One of the few that I actually give a crap about in the DC universe.
Right.
And we've talked about this before. I'm not a huge DC guy. Um, but I'll at least give him a fair shake. But Batman's one of the better ones. So, but yeah, be interested to see where they go with the character. We're definitely getting to the point though with any comic book character that the older ones, there's only so many ways you can retcon them and still maintain that same level of gravitas
It's
and
true.
um, you know core components of their story.
And relevance even.
Right. So we may start getting into it. We actually are already into the era where we're going to have to start seeing the retirement of some of the more iconic superheroes and
Right.
having other people take over. Now, in the Batman universe, there's plenty of people who have been Batman
Yep.
and could come back and play Batman again.
Even Bane was Batman for a short time. I mean,
Bomb.
let's not talk about that Batman in that movie. Let's not
Bomb.
talk about that. No. No.
Oh, come
Anyway,
on, Tim. You gotta chill out, man.
time to chill.
Yes. Nice to meet you.
Everything about that movie gives me a headache. Everything except Uma
Oh, come
Thurman.
on, bat nipples.
Uma
You
Thurman.
didn't you didn't like
Uma
you
Thurman
didn't
is the
like
only thing that doesn't give me a headache about that movie. And even still, it's hard to watch it just for that.
Right.
But yeah, Batman, a long and a very varied history, but a character that I don't think is going to go anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, with that, I think that's probably going to wrap up for us as far as our Batman expose,
Right?
meandering.
Or
We had a point.
Bat meandering.
Yeah, bat meandering. We had a point here. We probably got lost
I
somewhere along the way. We never do.
we never do.
Anyway, so I think that'll go ahead and do it for us. What do you think? We're good to wrap up?
Think so?
Alrighty. Well, thank you for joining us today. As always, catch us on anchor.fm, our primary podcasting site, as hosted by Spotify as well. You can also find us on several other podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, several others. Find the live, well, not live, but the recorded videos on youtube.com/non-sequitur-nerds. Facebook.com/non-sequitur-nerds, and Twitter @non-sequitur-nerd. We also occasionally do live streams on twitch.tv/non-sequitur-nerds, but we'll usually tweet out something about that beforehand.
Usually.
Usually. If Tim remembers.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, I think that'll do it for us. So, we wish you all well. Thank you for joining us, and have a good night. So, as always, for non sequitur nerds, I am Ian,
And I'm Tim. Night, everybody.